which is the left goes on and on. They talk about institutional racism. Then it occurred to me, the left controls every major institution in the country. They control the media. They control Hollywood. They control big tech. They control corporate America. They control administrative government. They can control higher education. They control lower education. They control all of it. Frankly, the only institution that the right has any say over is talk radio.
That was Michael Knowles on yesterday's show explaining how any theoretical roadmap of systemic racism in America must lead back to left-wing dominated institutions or states or communities. To continue this discussion, we welcome in Deputy Director of Legal Policy at the Manhattan Institute and contributing editor of City Journal, Rafael Mangual, and the CEO of Pacham Solutions and a NEWSMAX columnist, Cory Mills. Welcome to you both. Rafael, we'll start with you. Let's start with, well, you recently wrote a piece for the Wall Street Journal cautioning against radical changes in policing and how the data just doesn't stack up for people who want to point to systemic racism as being the problem.
Yes, that's exactly right. I mean, I think it's important at the outset to say, just given the temperature of these debates, that, of course, policing is not perfect. Policing is a human endeavor. Humans will make mistakes. Humans will fail. Humans will be malevolent, right? This is something that we've seen. I think, we were all rightly horrified by what we saw with George Floyd. All that said, however, the data by and large do not indicate that policing as an institution has a violence problem, let alone a prejudice problem. If you look at just the data on deadly use of force, I estimated in a paper the police fired their weapons 3,043 times in 2018. It sounds like a lot. It's about 8 times a day. But when you contextualize that in light of the overall volume of police activity, in light of 700,000 officers making more than 10 million arrests and having 50-some-odd million other public contacts, you start to see that the deadly force is an incredibly rare occurrence, but yet that reality is not at all reflected in the rhetoric. And their case does not get any stronger when you look at non-deadly force, for example. If you look at just regular physical force, we know from studies that 99% of arrests go off without a hitch. Right? In that less than 1% of arrests in which physical force is used, there's almost no injury done to the suspect, at least none that's discernible to any doctor. And that matters, right? Again, it's not to say that there isn't any room for improvement. Of course there is. But that room for improvement is at the margins. By and large, policing is an incredibly professional and incredibly restrained profession that has done just amazing things to save mostly black lives. This is something that people forget.
Yeah.
The crime decline of the 1990s inured primarily to the benefit of black communities throughout the United States, and that has to be remembered.
Yeah, you took it right where I was just thinking. 1990s, policing was a basket case, and there's been a lot of great work done around this country to get policing to its current high level where it is. And Cory, that's what I want to pick up with you. Because if you talk to a left-winger in this country, anybody from the Democrat Socialist Party or anybody in the basket of biased press, they're going to tell you it's just like the Civil War here in America. It's just like the 1950s here in America. And Jim Crow laws, they're all back. Everything is terrible. If you're a Latino, if you're a black person, a person of color in America. And my reaction is, A, that's not true. And you're spitting on everybody who fought so hard, and a lot of people died to make that reform. Where am I going wrong here?
Well, you're not. You're exactly correct. I mean, look, it's like right now where anything, we live in this cancel culture. So anything that we don't like, let's just remove it. Any type of wording that we don't like, let's change it. Any type of government we want, let's just go ahead and impose that through lawlessness. We're continuing to see this more and more. And to add into that, reform is a natural part of any process, any department. You look in the 1980s, they used to have the fleeing felon law. That was reformed and, subsequently went away. Having been in the military for a long time, we train continuously. Why not just stop when we got it right that first time? And the reason why is because you have to continually reform, you have to continually train, you have to continue to prep. I'm not saying that each department doesn't have one or two bad apples in there. Of course it does, but we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater here. The reality is these men and women are bravely risking their lives day in and day out, and they have to make a split moment decision where everyone else in the world gets an armchair quarterback.
Raphael, Cory, guys, I appreciate the discussion. Let's continue it in future programs. I appreciate the time. Still more to come. A second surge of the China virus in China. That's next on the Chris Salcedo Show on NEWSMAX TV.